Hey fam, what's going on? This is Jessica Pickens. Welcome to Pickens Realities, our blended family truths podcast. That right there, and to put on top of that, something that I mentioned in the class that I teach, the master class that I'm doing. In addition to the actual budget part of the money, right? You also got to think about and talk about, well, I do whatever I can. I go all out for Christmas, or because I come from X, I'm gonna do what I gotta do. But I spend, right. Like I go all out. Versus, oh well, that ain't how he that's not how he handles things with his children, right? And so me, like, I literally have an someone that I know that's a blended family. When they became a blended family, one person's perspective was, yo, I take care of my kids all year long. Christmas is not, we keep it on chill, right? Where the husband, that's not how he functioned, because he didn't have, so he went all out for Christmas. So now you got two different, so even from that perspective, like what are the perspectives related to money and how it's spent on children, particularly if you already paying child support, bruh. So now you gonna go spend another, couple $1,000s on Christmas. So all of these things that if you don't think about it, can cause just immediate rifts and extreme challenges. And then the next thing you know, the bonus mom looking at the bonus kid sideways, because she like, yeah, I got stuff that need to be done around this house, but because I can't say nothing, because you gonna get upset if I tell you can't buy Christmas presents for your kids.
Absolutely.
So now I got a whole attitude, and don't nobody wonder why, because I'm trying to work it out all by myself, because I ain't got nobody to talk
right
to.
back to what she said in the beginning of the confusion of, we think we got everything going on and we know everything and we don't. Because I was just sitting over here laughing because you like, let's talk about the finances. You're like, yeah. And then on top of that, but it's like we can literally sit and go, and then on top of that, and then on top of that,
Yep.
and then on top of that.
Yes.
And it's like, I don't want to discount any other person, race, or where there's only one, the human race, but ethnicity, section, whatever you want to call it. But you can't even wake up in your own house nowadays without somebody thinking you done loitered or squatting or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just so many stressors that are happening. And then you, sometimes, more times than often, especially the way the world is going, how violent it's become, people are becoming blended families because of loss, right? So then you're trauma bonding with someone else, and now you got your kids trauma bonding, and now we're all a trauma bonding family, and we low-key all sneak dissing each other, and it's just up. It's just so up. So like, how do we create healthy spaces, right? Not just for in our home, but like, how are we creating healthy spaces for our community, like for our aunts and uncles to be able to come have conversations, or friends to be able to come have conversations, because we, like you said, we're all going through layers and layers and layers of life, and we trying to hold on to our family.
I think we do what you're doing right now. We do it in microcosms, and we do it in larger platforms like this. We say, look, my home is open, and we be safe people. What I have found in my own blended family is one thing that is a thread from my bio daughter to my stepdaughters and stepson. When I asked them, I interviewed them once and asked them, okay, so what was the trigger? When did you know, okay, it's okay for us here, that this is okay family? And they all said, it's when you did. It's when you did this. It's when you did this. For Kayla, it was when I saw how Dad treated you, then I knew he was safe for me. For
Mm.
one of my kids, the son, he ran track, and so he was like, every time you made pasta for me. I mean, so it's little things. So we
Yeah.
start noticing
Yeah.
people, and we notice where they are, and we enter into those places with them. With for the aunt and uncle, to make it okay for them to come, is to be an okay person for them to be themselves with. This is part of why we're talking to Black and brown blended families about creating these spaces, because it's there in community where you see people that you have shared experiences with, or you have shared history or shared values or shared culture with, that you begin to foster a sense of identity. A sense, it's the same thing in our family, a sense of family culture or group culture, a sense of resilience, right? And in being a blended family, in that it's especially important because of because of the dynamics that we all have to deal with. They pull at the fabric of community, that ravel and shoot arrows at our unity in families, right?
Mm.
But within a blended family community, what we can do is we capitalize on the things that we have in common. Same thing we do in our families, because we all got that auntie that we don't want to see coming, right? We all got that
We
uncle
do.
that like, right? But we love him. We love him, and we we make it okay for him to, while holding healthy boundaries, we make it okay for him to be himself in our space. And I think we do. That's what we do. Um, it's. I want to say that there's not a formula,
Right.
because we're so different individually, right? Even you can have five biological children. And y'all know, if you got siblings, in the same household with the
Girl.
same parents,
Girl.
raised under this, and they will have completely different experiences,
Yes.
perspectives, and you mama's favorite, and you mama's favorite,
We
and da
got
da da.
We
that.
Why
got
We
he
it.
didn't
got
do
a
this for
golden
you? And
child.
hello, and then do that, all of that. So that's, even just imagine in a blended family, that's even more so. So what we do is we create opportunities, and we say, okay, and we invite people into the opportunities, and they come or they don't, right? But whoever shows up, that we have the exchange with them. And usually what happens is, when people see your unity, this is what Jesus was praying in John 17. Father, I pray that they would be one,
Mm.
as you and I are in one another. Let they be one in one another, and us in them, and them is in us. And this was the reason, so that the world will know that I came.
Yeah.
Our unity shouts to the people around us that, oh, this Jesus, he is real.
He's
He
real.
came
Yeah.
and he died, and all that you see is because of him. Our love for one another, that's how people know that we are followers and apprentices of Jesus Christ, that we love one another the way that he loves us. It's the same principles, because truth is true. 2 plus 2 is 4 in Germany, just like it is here in the United States. It's all how you translate it, right?
Right.
It's all how you translate it. So,
So Salbona
mhm.
focuses on making your dining room table your safe space, right?
Absolutely,
Right.
absolutely,
So
yeah,
what are some exercises you can give blended families to do at their dining room table?
yeah. Okay, so my kids, that we have grown to the point where they chop it up. They're all grown now. They bring in their significant others. We chop it up at the table like nobody's business. But we started off like with games, or just,
Yeah.
let's even make it even more simple. Just ask, how was your day?
Yeah.
Just that simple. How's your day? Tell, and then listen. Like, don't ask and then move on to something else quickly, but listen and respond to what you're hearing, and ask a question about what you're hearing. And when you're talking to your bonus child, I'm gonna tell you, there are gonna be times you're gonna have to be so resilient. I always tell people, listen, if you want to get a master class in being conformed to the image of Christ, be in a step family for real,
Girl.
because you gonna get tested and stretched and all the things,
Woo.
and they gonna like you today and hate you tomorrow, and
Girl.
they're with you, and just all the things. So you have got to be consistent in this. And so consistently enter into where they are and ask them questions. And when they don't give you an answer, or when they mumble an answer, or when they like just blow you off, as long as it's not disrespectful, you just be cool with it. Like, don't even react to it. Just and try again tomorrow, because your consistency is going to make a huge difference. So that's one thing. Just have family conversations, and then have a game. Like, we started doing who's most likely to,
Oh
and
yeah,
we
that's
come up with
turned.
the craziest
Yeah,
questions we could come
we
up
got to
with.
do that.
And like, who's most likely to do this? And I'm telling you, by the time we're done, we're laughing, we're arguing about who's going to do that, and no, they're going to do it like this or whatever. Just create opportunities for fun and
Yeah.
spontaneity. You can do that as well. The other thing that I would say is pray together as a family.
Yeah.
I'm going to assume that there are the couples are listening to this podcast right now, or watching us right now. You're still in charge of your family. You're blending your family, yes, and you want to be empathetic with your children, and um cautious with moving too quickly with them, but you're still in charge. So bring your family together and pray together as a family. Read the word together as a family. Take opportunities to get their thoughts on God and their own relationship with God. Ask them a political question if you dare.
No, 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 no.
But yeah, and the one thing that Jonathan and I did, things away from the dining room table that we did, that I really appreciated, and he started it, was we made sure that our bio children knew that they didn't lose us.
Mm.
So we had dates with our bio children, and then because we were trying to get to know and gain access and influence with our stepchildren, we had dates with them as well. We would do one-on-one things with them and just ask them, what do you like to do? I took Okay, well, the statutes of limitations have run out, so I can say this. But
Tell it.
I took somebody, our youngest, he's our son, he's 26 now, but he's an artist. He was really into art. And so he was graduating high school. He had lived with us. He was graduating high school, and he was going to school in the area that I had lived in. Just It's about 20-30 minutes outside of Detroit, west of Detroit. And so there's this place where there's a lot of graffiti. So, girl, it's broad daylight. I bagged up about 20-30 bags of spray paint. I got the ladder. We
Oh.
driving up here. I took it. We went down the alley. I'm like, okay, go ahead. So I took him tagging. Go ahead, tag the building. And but I thought, because it's called Graffiti Alley, so I kind of thought it was legal. And then the manager of it was on the theater. The manager of the theater came out and it's like, I can have you arrested for that. And I was like, what?
You should have just dropped everything and ran. just dipped.
Run, let's go. To this day, he says that was like the best time ever.
Wow.
And he said, I got one parent who did something illegal with me.
Aw.
So just like enter into, like, find out what they like and just do it. Be there with them. And for what happened with my second bonus daughter, she used to talk to me about difficulties she would have with her mom. And I always honored her mother in the conversations. And said to her, no matter how angry she was, I would say to her, your mother loves you and you need to respect your mom. And if you talk to your mom about this, you might find it will come out a little bit better than what you think it is.
That's actually really good.
This is the one who's the therapist. And so she was saying in our interview together that, you never bashed my mom to me, and that meant so much. It made you a safe person for me.
Absolutely.
So again, back to being a safe person for them. So those are just some things that you can do to kind of make your dining room table a place of connection.
So that was all about making the dining room table a place of connection.
And but in part, but I want to make sure that, so look, y'all, in this day and time when it's 1,200 things going on and everybody got a cell phone and a tablet and a TV, I think that I just want to make sure that we are very clear in pointing out that is still one old school trick that do your best to implement. get to the dining room table, have
And if you
dinner
don't have a dining room
together,
table, wherever y'all all can meet at.
whatever.
Get to the
Yes.
kitchen table,
Yes.
get
And
on the
turn
floor,
turn
whatever.
the TV off, put the phones down and pay attention to each other. So being able to, and we were consistent with that regardless of
Yeah.
schedules and everything else. That is one thing that I'm very grateful that we somehow figured out and knew that that was important. We
Muggs was hungry.
did,
We had to
man. Well,
eat.
that too,
That's what
yeah.
it
Mugs,
was.
Mugs was hungry and had to eat. But doing family dinner, and we did have
Yeah.
family prayer at night.
Yeah.
We did do prayer in the morning, etc. So some core, just basic stuff that doesn't cost any money. You know what I mean? Like you said, everybody got to eat.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So even if you ordering pizza or it's takeout or whatever, turn the TV off. And like you said, whether it's okay if you don't have a table and it's the living room, that's fine. But just turn the extra stuff off and focus on each other, because that's how you build relationships. So I
Right.
just wanted to make sure that we called
Absolutely.
out that key thing
Yeah.
of, hey y'all, let's get back to, or get back to or keep or create some of the
Yeah.
basics from that perspective. So go ahead. I'm
Thank
sorry,
yeah.
Jay.
Well, I was gonna go back to from Sawabona to stepmom sanity. So, question for both of you as bonus moms: what's something that you would like to receive or wish you received to keep yourself feeling safe or comfortable becoming a bonus parent
That
Received.
is
from your kids?
Okay, I was like
from the
from.
kids.
Okay, got it. Go ahead, Cheryl. Go ahead.
That is such a good question. That's such a
Yes.
good question. I think being 17 years in, and and I'm sure being 22 years in, you'll probably answer it a little differently as well. What I do receive, and what I have received from them is thank you, is affirmation.
Mm.
Um, but I put in all of the effort and the um, all of the pursuit up front, just like God does for us. We don't come to
Mm.
God on our own impetus. He pursues us, and he gives us the faith to believe him, and it's his gift that he then imparts that, and he's the one who gives us even the desire and the ability to do what pleases him. So it is this the stuff that we do, we respond to him, but he's already placed in us a desire to respond to him.
Mm-hmm.
I had to create a desire for the kid with their appetite for me, just by being present, by being consistent. And
That's
so
good.
I put all that effort in up front to have relationship with them and to love them for themselves, not just because they were a part of my husband. And that paid off with them loving me in return. In the beginning, it was respect. That's all I could ask for.
Mm.
And
Mm.
that respect then grew to trust. And then that grew to acceptance. And now there I am, other mother. So it's not just this is my stepmom. No, that's my mom
Mm-hmm.
as well. So, but that was progression, right? So I think
Yeah,
what you want at the beginning is a lot different than what you want 17, 22, 30 years in.
that's good
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
That's good
Makes
stuff.
sense.
I couldn't have said it better. Actually, I
Oh,
think
I
that
thought she was about to
because
throw some shade. I thought she was
no,
about to throw some
no, not at
shade.
all. I think that, because again, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And, again, I learned on this very podcast, a few weeks back, I did not know that your dad made y'all. He didn't, I thought y'all chose to call me mom out the gate. I didn't know, because I said, you can call me Miss Jessica, or, what, when we were trying to, I had no idea. And here it is almost 22 years later. Like, I feel so horrible that he, like, pulled them to the side, Cheryl. On the episode, so I didn't know that he pulled him to the side because, I was a single mom. I had my son, and Ty had my 3 bonus babies from his first marriage, right?
Hmm.
And y'all know
He held
the
us up and
crazy
was like,
story, y'all.
"Call
Everybody
mom." No,
go
I'm
back and
kidding.
watch episode 1, part 1 and part 2 to get the full story. But we met and married in less than 90 days. The kids moved in with me within a week of them meeting me. So they go from, who's this lady? And now you living in the house. And so when we are figuring out, what they're gonna, I thought they wanted to call me mom, but I just found out like 5 weeks ago. No, that he like threatened. It was like, no, you're gonna call her mom. So
punching us in the gut every time we was like, miss. No, I'm kidding. I'm joking. Don't take it like my dad was beating on us. He wasn't.
but what I was so unrealistic out the beginning because I just again I just to your point to one of the earlier points, Cheryl, right? Like we have black people we are survivors by trait, man, right? Like that, like you like, you know. And then again, I was raised by a single mom and I had been through so much stuff, you know, so I just jumped right in and I knew I thought I knew and had a concept of what I wanted family to be. So I wasn't even thinking about, quite frankly, in the beginning, oh, what are the blended family dynamics? I just jumped right in going, okay, I'm now, I was already a mom, but now I got 4 kids instead of 1, and I'm about to be a wife. So this is what a wife does. Now, I'd only seen it on TV. My parents were divorced when I was 4. So you know what I mean? So all you do, you know, I'm watching Claire Huxtable going, okay, all right, this is what you do. Okay.
Right.
You know, and I'm so serious, like, you know, to have like, that was, I didn't have examples in real life. I didn't have an aunt and uncle. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have it. And so what I wanted out the beginning, or what I thought I wanted from the perspective of automatic connection and affection, if you will. Like Ty and I had it, and I thought it was an instant plug with you all, because again, I thought it was voluntary. Y'all were like, oh yeah, we'll call your mom. Well, you know, but in reality, man, in reality, you know, it's exactly what you said, Cheryl, right? It's, this thing has to be a progression. And because I think that, because I didn't understand that in the beginning, I had unrealistic expectations. So when y'all started getting older, and particularly with you and I, right? When we started hitting that really rough patch, because there was stuff that I didn't know, that we didn't unpack, that I wasn't realistic about. And then when the respect got peeled back, right? And so then when it became, when the eye rolling started, like you said, Cheryl, when you go, you know, you had them the eye rolling starting, and yeah, it's good as long as I'm giving you what you want, or what you say you want and need. So when you hit that place of going backwards, that's when, at that point, that's what I wanted more than anything, was the respect and the affirmation. Is it there now? Absolutely. But we went through this up, down, you know, cycle. And I would say that it was because we didn't know better. And that's, so what I wanted, I thought I had, and then came into a reality of, oh no, that ain't, no, this ain't that.
Right.
Because if she, you know, if there was love and respect, then we wouldn't be going through what we're going through in this way. Not that you don't have challenges as a family, you know what I mean? But it was very clear that there was a disconnect that I didn't realize was there. And so thank God we were able to push through and get to the other side of that equation that you laid out so eloquently, Cheryl, when you're going, you know, first you start out with, you know, respect, and then it's, you know, growing into acceptance, and then you move into, you know, acceptance and affirmation that comes later after you've had a chance to give people time to adjust, man, and build that relationship in a non-threatening manner, so that the kids don't feel like you're trying to make them choose, you know, like,
Right.
And for us, our stuff was different. I felt, because of the information I had out the gate, and because of where things were with your dad and your mom, which were not in a good place, I did feel like I was supposed to jump in and be y'all mom based on our scenario, if that makes sense. You see what I mean? Where in y'all minds, y'all going, I got a mama. Who is you, lady? What is going on? Right? Like, what, like, why are we doing this? So I know that was a lot and a long way around, but what I wanted, it changed. And so hindsight being 2020, I guess I'm trying to also speak to blended families that are out there, so that you can ask that question up front and be realistic about it. Right. And you know, again,
ask who? Yourself?
People, other families. So the adults in blended families, ask yourself. Well, one, if you know that if you're preparing to be in a blended family, you're gonna be in a blended family. Because if you a single parent or you're no longer with, if you got children and you ain't with the person, other bio parent, and you want to be married, you want to be in a family, you're gonna be in a blended family, right?
Mm-hmm.
So start. That's the whole thing that we're saying. Start thinking about and parsing through these topics and conversations now. But being able to have those realistic expectations, man. And again, Cheryl, I'm gonna go back and watch you say that like 12 times, because that's the whole, I'm serious. Like, that was so good. That was just so good when you go, okay, what's a realistic expectation out the gate? Respect. Like, let's agree on the ground rules of respect. With the bio parents, you see, and the adults have to make sure, because the bio parents are the ones that have to set those boundaries and expect. That's right.
They
And
definitely do.
we didn't do that right neither, because he was like, okay, you here now, fine, I don't have to keep, okay, you go be mama, I'll talk to you later. Right? And that wasn't right.
That's
Right?
how I am with my baby. Like, I don't, if I'm talking to somebody and I introduce him to my baby, it's Mr. So-and-so. We ain't doing that. Oh, this show. No. Mr. So-and-so. Until we get to a point of you possibly thinking that whatever. But people don't be around my kid because of that very reason. So.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, I had an unfair advantage because I had I'm going to say a not good relationship with my own stepmom, and so when I knew I was becoming one, I said I'm not going to do that. So I had a list of things that I wasn't going to do. And my daughter, whose father got remarried a month after we were divorced, she had a contentious relationship with her stepmom. And so I was like, okay, so I had a whole like checklist. Okay, don't do that, don't
Because
do
you
that,
had
don't do
your
that, don't do
experience
that.
and she had hers, so you was just compiling the combo. Okay.
Yes, I was like, oh, okay,
Man.
this, and this. And then I did a whole lot of praying. One, because I didn't even want to be remarried, and it was the Lord that said, "No, I'm bringing a husband," and I
Clock
had to
it.
get used to the idea of being married again. Um, and so while all of that was going on, I was like, okay, well, I don't know how to be a stepmom. I know what I don't want. I know what I do want. So I need you to show me how to show up in my family, which is what he did. And he showed me how to take time. And it's like, okay, are you in this for the long haul? Then you don't have to rush. You don't have to rush anything. You just
Oh,
be
that's
consistent with
good.
doing what I told you to do and leave the outcomes to me. So our thing is we have to be obedient, but God owns his own outcomes. So we just do what God tells us to do. He takes care of everything else. That's no guarantee that what has happened in our families will happen in your family, but I will tell you this, what obedience will do is it will change your perspective on things. So you can still have a relationship that's not as connected as you want it to be, but you will be okay
Yes.
with it as long as you do what you're supposed to do, right? But I love the fact that you said expectations, because that alone will derail your attempt to blend your family if you have these unrealistic expectations
Man.
about what your family life is supposed to look like, especially out the gate. I promise you're going to be disappointed. It is not it's not the Brady Bunch, baby. It's just not. It's not the
Yeah.
Brady Bunch. And if you think that's what you're going to get, uh, just go pray.
Yeah.
go,
Real
go
talk.
pray.
What you're
What?
doing is setting yourself up for likely failure and disappointment.
Absolutely.
Because and that's what we want. That's why we're having these conversations. That's why we're talking, man. Like, just dial it back. And I've even said, and we've talked about, it's okay to push the pause button. Like,
It really
it's all
is.
right to go whoop. All right, got some new information.
Let's
You know,
wait.
what's that?
Yes.
Is it Staples, y'all? Is that hits the it's the with
Oh, the
the
button?
button,
Yeah.
the red button, like you go,
Yes.
okay, wait a minute. We need a timeout. We need to pause, think through this, and like you and absolutely, Miss Cheryl, right? Pray, like, okay, God, how do we restructure the setting, the people, the processes that will allow us to function and work best for our family, for what we have going on. And being okay and going, just because I thought it was X a month ago, a week ago, a day ago, 10 years ago, things change, people change, you get new information, you learn new stuff. It's okay to readjust.
It is. And I will say this too, in preparation, not to like shamelessly plug, but Ron Deal has two books. One is called Preparing to Blend.
Yes.
It is what the title is. It actually walks you through a whole lot of these conversations that we're having right now. So if you're dating someone and you're getting ready to become a blended family, I highly recommend going through that book. The other one he wrote with I think it was Gary Chapman, is called Building Love Together in a Blended Family. Those two books will help you think through it. Nothing is a fix. Again, I just want to
Yep.
make that very clear. Nothing is a fix, but those two books will help you think through what it really means to walk this road and get your heart ready for all of the questions and the
That's right.
inevitable dynamics that are going to make you want to quit. It's going to happen. So, but you can say, "Oh, but I read about this and I remember X, Y, and Z, and these are the things that I'm going to try to do to adjust accordingly." So I'm sorry, Jayla. I saw that you were going to say something.
No,
I jumped in.
that's
I'm so
that's
sorry.
because that's part of what we want to do, right? Is say, y'all, there
the
are
resources.
resources out there, and while you have books too, which we gonna have you talk about that at the end. I've got one prayer journal I've done that's strengthening blended families. I'm working on the next book, but this is what it is that to your way earlier point, those of us living this and who are willing and who God has spoken to and given us the charge of, hey, you need to get out here in these streets and these blended family streets and help these people because
Right.
the goal here is that however you wound up in a blended family situation, whether it was due to being widowed, whether it was due to divorce and it's your encore marriage, right? Or whether you were never married before like me, and this is one and done, baby. I told Tyrone, look at here, this is buck wild crazy out there.
You mad? Go sleep in the bathroom.
Right.
No, I'm kidding.
We don't even do that. We just now we both gonna sleep in this bed. You gonna be on your side, I'm gonna be on mine, but we sleeping in the same spot, right? Like we ain't doing none of that.
If our feet touch, we not arguing no more.
I love it. Jonathan's thing is, you can leave me, but I'm going with you. So
Right,
where we
I know.
going?
Well,
Their
our
theme
motto,
is, I won't be.
I ain't leaving and I won't be left.
behind.
Period. I ain't leaving and I won't be left, because at the end of the day, this there and again, we've actually got to a point to where we had a conversation about divorce, and we both agreed to put in the work and get professional counseling. And we had sets,
Yes.
we had our professional counseling, we had our spiritual advisors that we trusted, and we put in the work. So at the end of the day, but what we're doing is sharing resources with people and saying, look, when you notice it's going to be a situation, do what we didn't have and do what we didn't know to do. Start prepping now. So absolutely, those resources that you mentioned as far as Ron's books, and then Jayla, you had, I think were you going into another question?
Yeah, I was. Oh, so I'm saved and filled with the Holy Ghost, but I don't always act sanctified. Okay. So what do we do?
None of us do,
with the families, right, that don't go to church and don't have a prayer life? They're blended families, but they don't go to church because of the shunnedness that they get, or they're uncomfortable. They're not. How do we? Because I understand we want to outreach to people that are in church, but how do we outreach to people and touch people that aren't? That look at us like, oh, you think you better than me because X, Y, and Z, or you think you better than me because you go to church. You know what I'm saying? How do
you can have something in the community center, right?
That's
you can
right.
you can do that, but let me say this: gravity works whether I'm a Christian or not. The
That
sun
one.
shines whether I'm a Christian or not, and the Lord says, "I reign on the just as well as the unjust." In other words, the principles can be worked, right? But if a person wants transformation, that does take the Lord. But here is the opportunity for the church, and this is one of the positions of Salbona. This is one of the things that we say to pastors. It's like, look, you got a whole community out there. They won't come to your church on Sunday morning, but they will come to your church on Friday night to talk about baby mama drama,
Yep.
or they will come to
Yep.
your church to talk about this. And what you do is you meet needs in the community, and then after the heart has been ripened, when the conversation happens, then you can give them the gospel, right? Because we still are talking about, we still want to make disciples. But for people who don't go to church, or who don't pray, who don't what, the principles are still there, and they can work the principles
Nice.
until they're ready to hear the
Absolutely.
gospel.
Absolutely.
Nice.
Absolutely. I don't even have anything to add
I
to
was
that
gonna
because
say,
I was
well-
gonna because well, and that's another thing. Like, you have your podcast too, Cheryl. You know, we have our. It is that we are not sharing. This is one of the key reasons why taking advantage of this day and age and technology allows us to be able to share this information, our story, and try to help people through this podcast, right? Like, you don't have to be sitting inside of a church. And so, and that's why we're also very careful to make sure people know, like, we're going to be upfront. Like, we tell people on the website, you know, just like we are faith-based people. We are Christians. This is who we are. I have no judgment for anyone who does not believe in Christ. I don't have judgment. You know, that's between y'all and Jesus. I'm going to love people where they are, but I'm also not going to shy away from or not act like I am who I am just to try to deliver whatever information I'm trying to deliver,
So
right?
how do
If
you
that
coach
makes
a
sense.
family
So,
that's blended, that half of them, like 6 of them, 3 of them go to church every Sunday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Saturday, and 3 of them be like, yeah, no.
but it's okay. All I can do is be the coach that God is calling me to be and do it the way he's calling me to do it. And this is a reason why this is why basically you got to do a discovery call, and we got to determine, am I a good fit for you? And are you a good fit for me? Because now if you hop into one of our sessions, you hop into the master class, that's free. Come get the information, man. But it tells you up front. If you go look us up, if you look at episode 1, you go to the website, you go to jessicapickens.com, and you're looking at, what is this Blended Family Matters Academy? What is y'all about? It literally tells you we provide spiritual and practical tools to assist blended families with overcoming challenges, because we believe that every blended family has the ability to thrive. You can do this. You can work through your challenges. You can stay together. You can make it through. We are a living testament. Cheryl and her husband are a living testament. You know, there are ways to do this. And so whether people go to church or not, to me, is of no consequence, because I'm going to be who God is calling me to be. And it's what Cheryl said at the very beginning. When we lift him up and we do it in a way where we are representing and living the word of God, and I ain't got to go beat you over the head with a Bible.
I'm like, I love
you
God.
know what, Cheryl,
you don't love God? What's wrong with you?
But you know what I mean? So it's being who we are, being the light. Go ahead, Cheryl.
But you know, even in the word, like there, I can't remember the scripture right now off the top of my head. I can't remember the address.
I knew you was going to say it. I was like, oh, we forgot the address. That's all right. We can
Forgot
find
the address, yeah. But it is where Paul is talking about, like, you know, wives. He's talking to wives, and if the husband is an unbelieving husband, but he wants to stay, what is that wife supposed to do? And Paul essentially says, live your life before him, that without a word, he may be won. So we're talking about in a marriage relationship, right? So for the couple that has, like, you know, 3 of them go to church or 3 of them don't, I'm not going to drag you here. But what I'm going to do is live my life before you, and let it be an epistle, be a letter, God's letter written and read by you, and that I can win you even without a word being said, but I am praying. So for us to kind of, you know, translate that into us as coaches and therapists and ministers and what have you, you know, I am unapologetically Christ-centered. I say it on the website. When you come here, you know what you're going to get. So when you walk through the door, you knew. So don't come in and pretend like you didn't know. You know, get mad if you want to, but ain't nothing changing. So this is what we said. But there will be practical tools. There will be research-based resources. There will be all these things that's available to you that you can take and you can run with. But again, if you are talking personal transformation, if you're talking like peace and joy, and because your circumstances aren't guaranteed to change, then now we're talking about the power of the Holy Spirit.
Amen.
And that's something different. But this can be an entryway to that thing.
Nice. So give us a couple of resources that you have for blended families, for stepmoms.
Let the people know where they can find you online and what you got going on. Yes, ma'am.
Sure. Thank you so very much. Well, you can always reach out to me at stepmomsanity.com. You can follow Stepmom Sanity is that name everywhere. Facebook, Instagram, the podcast is Stepmom Sanity. There's also Sawubona Blended Families.org, and Sawubona is spelled Sawubona, blendedfamilies.org. That's where you can find us there. If you want to email me, it could be Cheryl at either one of those at sawubonablendedfamilies.org or stepmomsanity.com. Either one of those, you can get in touch with us there as well. If you'd like to invite me to come and speak at an event, same thing. Go to Stepmom Sanity or sawubonablendedfamilies.org. Either one of those. One of the resources that we have that I love, because we spent so much time developing the resource, is called Look Again, Tips to Deepen Intimacy in Your Marriage. Because your marriage is still the foundation of your family. If your marriage ain't working, nothing else is going to work. So we talk about intimacy, what it is, what it isn't, all the different types of intimacy in this book. There are tips, tools, scriptures, and prayers that will help you deepen, look again at your spouse and appreciate the gift that God has given you in that spouse. And it's 102 pages. It's a free download. You can go to either Stepmom Sanity or Sawubona Blended Families and get that resource. There's a ton of free resources on either one of those. What to do when hubby doesn't understand and all kind of stuff. So I would just say go to the websites and stump around. There's also a book called Waiting to Be Wanted, A Stepmom's Guide to Loving Before Being Loved. That is both a book and a workbook. That really is, if you want to get inside of my head in terms of being a stepmom, that is the book to get. The Lord directed me to write that book back in 2020. We finished it in 2021. It was out then. I've heard people call the workbook therapy in a therapy between pages. So we do go
that
deep.
Is awesome.
We do challenge. We believe in challenging perspectives and helping you think about things in a different way. There's some of my story in there, some strategies that the Lord taught me in terms of how to be a conduit of his love, how to love children not biologically my own that may even reject me. How do I do it? And so those two books, Waiting to Be Wanted, Stepmom's Guide to Loving Before Being Loved, the book and the workbook, I would recommend as well. Nice. And you can get that at Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, wherever books are sold, or you can also get that on the website.
Awesome. Mom, what's one of your resources that you have?
So the Strengthening Blended Families 30-Day Prayer Prompt Guide and Journal is
that.
Thank you. You're so funny. But this is a tool that God placed on my heart as far as, well, and it has a partner tool, which I'm gonna we'll be starting just doing a 30-day walk. I think we're starting that today or tomorrow, going live with that too. If you go to the website, jessicapickens.com, there's a free gift where you can download a 30-day affirmation guide, Strengthening Blended Families, that gives you a affirmation one per day to speak positively about your blended family and how to focus on unity and things that we all know. Well, for us, biblically based, power of life and death are in the tongue. Right. So as you have to speak what you want to see and what you want to manifest about your blended family. Right. And so this 30-day prayer prompt guide and journal has a prayer prompt every day that's specific to strengthening your blended family, and then an accompanying scripture, and then the ability for you to write out where are you at and where do you want to be, so that it's prompting you and Jesus to have some conversations, right? So
Love it.
that, and I would suggest, that you get two copies, one for the mom, one for the dad, and then even for the kids, so that you can be able to
Do it together.
express your own. Well, do it individually first and then come together, because
Yeah.
you can use it as a tool to be able to facilitate those conversations, to get you closer to being able to work through a lot of the stuff we've talked about today, right? And then of course, go to our website, jessicapickens.com, and you'll learn about Blended Family Matters Academy, where we do coaching, couples coaching, and have some
Put
programs
up
there.
something right here in the middle of my face. Blended Family Matters Academy.
And we'll be we're gonna host a 3-day Blended Family Breakthrough Challenge in December, where that'll be virtual, an hour and a half each day, not long, 6:30 to 8, but online event. As we all know, y'all, it is Thanksgiving. Cheryl, you got your turkey,
Can
girl.
you believe it?
I
Turkey,
know.
smoked turkey, ribs, and ham, girl.
Oh, y'all
we coming
snapping.
over
What?
there.
Like,
No,
what? So as we are, everybody this time of year, everybody's going, okay, what happened this year? What do I want to happen next year? And you're gearing up. We really have, one, this is a rough time for a lot of people, just emotionally, if you've lost loved ones. And lost them can mean different, right? Not just people passing away, but particularly for kids and even spouses that are in blended families. You can still be grieving your previous relationship. Your children can be grieving the loss of, man, and it could be traumatizing for them. They might not want holidays because they have to, man, I got to choose, where am I going? Am I spending this with dad, or am I spending this with mom? And so we really want to be able to cover some topics that will allow some blended family breakthroughs in this short event that we're going to host in December. And the registration is going to be opening up within the next couple of days, to be able to get registered for that. So you can go to the website, check that out. Miss Cheryl, we so appreciate you taking the time for joining us today. You are phenomenal.
Absolutely.
Phenomenal.
I had such a good time. Thank you so much for having me. And I just got on, if y'all saw me looking that way, that's because I just went on to jessicapickens.com to sign up and to get ready to order my book.
Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate that very, very
y'all
much.
Clock that? Y'all clock that? I know that's right.
We got some more stuff coming. We'll be announcing all of that. But Miss Cheryl, this will not be the last time. We will definitely, and we were trying to get you here in person. We gonna make that. The weather wasn't cooperating with us, but that's okay. We appreciate the sacrifice, appreciate the work that you have been doing and are continuing to do, and the example. And we are excited to be in this arena with you at this point officially.
I'm
fighting for blended families, and saying, look, y'all, you can do it. There are examples of folks out here. We want people's families to stay together. We want to be able to say, y'all can make it, you can do it. So we want to thank everyone for joining us on today. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Miss Cheryl. Again, she's stepmomsanity.com, correct? Mm-hmm. Okay, yes, go check her out. That'll lead you to the other stuff as well. We appreciate you. And y'all, let's do this thing together. This is Jessica Pickens and
the Elite. And
Cheryl.
We thank you for joining us today for Pickens Realities and Blended Family Truths, as we talked again about being Black and blended, and we look forward to seeing y'all next time. Let's go and grow together in unity, y'all. Let's make it happen, Captain. Blended families, let's go. See you next time.